Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're having a great week. I think it was spring break for schools this last week. It might have been. I was actually traveling this whole weekend, so I'm a little out of it. But today's video is something that actually kind of came up as I was traveling, and I thought it'd be really kind of cool to touch on. And I'm sure you've seen it. A lot of people have seen it. It's like the adage of fear, right? Forget everything and run, or face everything and rise. Now, when I was thinking about this, it occurred to me how interesting that saying kind of is, right? When you think face everything and rise, right? Like, what do you imagine? What's like the first imagery that kind of comes to your head? For me, it's like, imagine, like a hero or a champion standing on the hill, cape blowing in the wind, whatever, in the sunset, triumphantly over the struggles that he's gone through, right? He faced everything. He challenged everything. He faced everything and he rose. It's not always like that. There are a lot of times when you're facing your fears, you're not going to feel triumphant. You're not going to feel like that warrior or that champion or that hero standing atop a mountain. Sometimes it's going to be a little bit darker, because your fears, facing your fears may cause you to lose some things, right? The idea of facing your fears, face everything and rise is not, it can be, but from my personal experience, it's not in the sense of like, you face everything head on, you push through, you fight, you challenge everything and you overcome, right? You manually rise, like you push yourself to rise. That's not really what's happened, at least for me. When I finally decided to face a lot of my fears, there were many nights alone. Many nights where I cried myself to sleep. Many nights where I really didn't like what I saw. But it was because I was facing all the things that I had ran from, right? Forget everything and run. That's what I did. I forgot everything and I ran, right? To be able to face your fears is to stop running and to come to grips with the fact of a lot of things that have happened in your life, whatever they may be, whatever your fears are, right? Because your fears, it might not even be just like the fear of success. It could be the fear of loss, the fear of abandonment, the fear of rejection. That's a big one, right? There's a lot of fears. And so when you can give yourself the space to sort of stop running and finally accept and face your fears, it may not look as triumphant as you think, but that's okay because that's a part of it. By facing the gunk inside of you, by facing the fear, everything that you've ran from, you will naturally rise. Right? It might not be, or it doesn't have to be that push, that challenge, that fight, as much as we want it to be. Trust me, because I wanted it to be that way too. I always thought I always kind of imagined myself as like that hero type. Like I wanted to overcome and face everything head on but when I did that, I was still running. For me anyways, because I was still fighting. I was fighting and running. I didn't want to actually face it. But once I faced it, there was a lot of tears, a lot of dark moments, a lot of moments alone. But as I started to face everything and shed those fears and to shed the doubts and to shed the worries, I began to rise naturally. And I wasn't even trying to. I was just finally releasing everything that was holding me back or everything that I was afraid of, everything that was keeping me down or keeping me in the situations that I was stuck in. I finally gave myself the space and the courage to really look at myself in the mirror and accept some things, accept things in my life, and to me, that's more or less what face everything and rise is really accepting everything that's happened to your life, right? You might be very afraid to look at a certain situation from your childhood, right? Abuse of a relationship, you lost a dream, you lost an opportunity, a business opportunity, right? That could be a fear, right? That could generally be a fear, and you could be running from it by trying to like ignore it or overcompensate by working even harder. Right? There's so many different ways to run from our fears. But when you can actually stop and look at it and accept it and almost forgive it, right? You just kind of like let go of that situation, forgive yourself, forgive the people, forgive what happened, right? And you let it go, you will naturally rise. You'll naturally come to that higher state of acceptance, right? And that allows you to move forward. So with this video, because as I was thinking about it, give yourself a little bit more credit with facing everything, right? If you really want to face everything and rise, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna suck, right? Obviously, facing your fears is not easy, but it might not be as like triumphant as you might think. Now, it can become that. It can become that once you've risen and accepted everything, right? You've faced your fears, you've accepted the mistakes, you've accepted the your doubts, your worries, the fear itself, and you finally rise up to this new version of yourself. Then may you stand up triumphantly, right? Sometimes it's not always going to be about that battle of pushing. You might just be spending a night alone crying in the shower. I'm saying that from personal experience. But that's what gives you that rise, right? And when we forget everything and run, we don't want to look at it. We don't want to see what may have happened or what our true reality is. So we come up with coping mechanisms, right? Addiction, overworking, underworking, so you might have lost all productivity, become really, really lethargic, right? Scrolling through social media or binging Netflix. I've definitely done these things, done all of them, right? Fear was my friend for a while. I ran from a lot of things in my life, and it wasn't until I finally faced them, not fight them. I stopped fighting them because I kept trying to fight them, right? Because I wanted to be that hero on top of the hill. I wanted to be strong and capable and glorified, and it didn't work that way, because the more that I fought them, just meant I wasn't accepting them, right? I still wasn't facing them. I was just trying to smash and grab my way through, and that didn't work until I finally just gave myself the space to accept what had happened, accept the faults in my life, the doubt, certain situations, lost relationships, lost opportunities, right? And once I stopped running and stopped fighting, it kind of allowed them to come to me so that I could heal them and accept them and forgive them and face them. Then I could let them go. And as you let them go, you will naturally rise, right? Somebody was talking about it. I can't remember who it was, and if I can find out, I will link them in the description below. But it's like you have a hot air balloon, right? You have a hot air balloon, and it's trying to take off, but you have all these sandbags, right? And instead of just letting go of the sandbags or facing them, here's one of fear, here's one of doubt, here's one of worry, here's one of this situation, this emotional block, this traumatic event, right? It's keeping you down. But if you're yelling at them and you're trying to ignore them, you're like, oh no, I'll still fly even if I have these sandbags. It keeps you stuck. So you have to be able to give yourself the grace and the time to kind of go through each sandbag individually, find out what each one is, right? Piece by piece, and then let it go. Or sometimes you don't even need to. Some you can just, cut them off, and that's good to go. But as you do that naturally, your balloon will begin to rise. So allow yourself to let facing your fears look like what it is for you. Because I definitely had an idea of what I wanted it to look like. I always thought I was really strong and capable, and I am in places, but there's other places where I'm not as strong as I would like to be, not even physically. And once you can allow yourself to let it look like how it's going to look for you, spending nights alone, journaling, reading, crying to music, dancing, working out, anything to express it and to move it and to get it out of you and to release it, face those fears and conquer them, you will naturally stand up into that greater person. You will become that hero or that warrior on top of the hill who had overcome their challenges. But you have to go through the challenges first to become the hero, I think. It does take some courage and some strength to face our fears and to accept them. And then once we can let them go, that's when we can stand up in them. So this just came to me when I was traveling over the weekend, and it really, really kind of hit me. So I hope that maybe it could reach somebody out there and resonate with you a little bit. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. We'll be having some more videos coming up here pretty soon, and I have a special announcement that I'm really excited for. I am actually starting my coaching business. So I have 3 spots open right now. I'm gonna put some information in the description below. I'm really excited. I've already been working with a couple people, and it's just been a lot of fun to help you guys out. So if you would be interested, feel free to click the link below. And I can't wait to see what we can do. So thank you guys again, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye, everybody.